City has seen some pretty wild stuff in its day. But is Atlantic City ready for the Rolling Stones? MTV Music Television and Budweiser, the king of beers, present Rolling Stones Terrifying. Hello from Atlantic City. I'm Adam Curry, and we're just about 30 minutes away from showtime. As the biggest rock and roll event of the year, the Rolling Stones Steel Wheels Concert Tour is heading towards a climax on a pay-per-view cable event, which is called the Rolling Stones Terrifying. So from the comfort of your very own home, you'll be able to see the Rolling Stones perform live on stage at the Atlantic City Convention Center. Now tonight, they'll be joined by special guests Axl Rose and Izzy Stradlin from Guns N' Roses, Eric Clapton, and blues legend, the guitarist, his name is John Lee Hooker. Now, we still have some time. If you haven't done so, to order this event, all you have to do is call your local cable operator. And while you're doing that, we're going to head backstage to Kurt Loder from MTV News, who's hanging out with one of the Stones. Kurt?
Okay, thanks, Adam. I'm here with Ronnie Wood backstage. Showtime is looming upon us real soon. Are you excited, Ronnie?
Yeah, like all the last gigs and going out to millions of people, it's really exciting.
So this is going to be a pretty special night. How did you decide who to pick to come in and join you on this thing? You've got two of the guys from Guns N' Roses. You've got John Lee Hooker. Why John Lee Hooker, for one thing?
Well, there's very few of the good old bluesers left, you know. We've lost Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters and Jimmy Reed, and, you know, there's John Lee's one of the original goodies.
How come they're just two guys from Guns N' Roses? They're not having trouble in the band or anything, are they?
Well, as I suppose we're having special guests to play with us, it would be a bit hard to have the whole band on as well, you know. Mind you, we did it with Living Colour the other night. It's only rock and roll we played.
Do you enjoy this playing on television? Does it interfere with what you do on stage? You have guys with cameras running around all the time?
Nah, better not do. No, it's fine.
Okay, we're going to all get changed for the show, but we'll be back in a couple minutes with some more from backstage, and back to you, Adam.
Well, thank you very much, Kurt, and of course we'll be checking in with all 5 members of the band as we get set for the Rolling Stones Terrifying, and you can get set for it as well. All you have to do is call your local cable operator right now to get this pay-per-view cable event. Now, the 1989 Rolling Stones tour has made 36 stops so far, and it's being hailed as a peak, a brand new peak in their 27-year career. It's also setting some records as the most mammoth rock and roll show ever put on the road. Just getting this show from city to city requires a whole fleet of semis and a small army of workers and technicians. And here's just how they do it. The Rolling Stones Steel Wheels Tour was the largest and most complex ever mounted. The staging makes as much of an impact as the Stones' music does. It's the culmination of the latest trends in modern concert design, employing computer-driven laser lights, pyrotechnics, video, and sound. Each Stone we spoke to had a different way of looking at it.
It's constructivist, if you really want to put an architectural term on it, which means really it looks like a very large Meccano, but further than that, I don't really want to go.
Maybe will there be cherry pickers and stuff like that, or
there's no cherry picker, but there's not a tremendous, well, I'm not saying there's no gimmicks. I mean, it's a very large stage. I mean, I think you've got to give a big stage in a large stadium. I don't think you want to play, you know, on a postage stamp.
It's a bit like the space shuttle launch.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Crossed with Paris Metro.
Like the side of a half-built factory, I think.
Constructivist, that's great.
Enormous.
Constructivist.
And it's great to see this enormous thing, and we're all huddled round Charlie. These little ants.
A little club scene in the middle, you know.
Indescribable, Kurt. What can I say? If I try to put it into words, you wouldn't need to come and see it.
That's true, and we need to come to see
it. It's like
it.
music that way, you know. If it could be done with words, you wouldn't have it. You know, I can't describe it, man. It's just there and steaming away.
I'm Adam Curry inside the Atlantic City Convention Center, and we're all getting ready for the Rolling Stones Terrifying. Atlantic City, of course, is one of America's most famous resorts, although some of you may only know it as the title of a Bruce Springsteen song. Atlantic City has been the entertainment mecca since the turn of the century, and it also has a pretty interesting recent history as well. Atlantic City is one of the biggest tourist attractions in the United States, bringing 30 million visitors per year. In the 11 years since gambling was voted in by the people of New Jersey, major developers have invested $4 billion in Atlantic City. Now the party capital of the East Coast, it's home to 12 gambling casinos that earn about $3 billion a year. It gives a stage to some of the biggest names in mainstream entertainment. And it's a sportsman's paradise, the scene for legendary boxing bouts by Mike Tyson and other great fighters. Now, you can add Terrifying the Rolling Stones to the list of great events taking place at Atlantic City. Now, you may be wondering, have the Rolling Stones ever played Atlantic City before? Well, the answer is yes. That was way back on July 1st, 1966, when the Stones headlined a quadruple bill, including the McCoys, the Standells, and the Trade Winds. Ticket prices were $2 apiece, and the Stones were paid $10,000 for 3 35-minute shows. And right now, Kurt Loder from MTV News is backstage with a couple of the guys who just might remember that gig.
Thanks. I'm backstage now with Bill Wyman and Charlie Watts. Guys, thanks for being here. Are you having a good time so far?
Wonderful.
Very good.
Has all this worked out? Has the stage set worked out the way you wanted it to? I mean, is it as easy to negotiate this thing as you thought, or are you winding up running all over the place?
Well, at least it's on his stall and I stand on my spot. I mean, we negotiate it very well, don't we? I've always said when Charlie moves, I move, you know. I'm stand on it.
Is the group getting along? I mean, being on the road this long, doing all these shows is pretty wearing on individuals, I imagine. Is everybody in the band getting along pretty well?
Very well, yeah.
I don't know, ask them. I never see them. We're only up there.
So you don't hang out together after the show?
No.
Oh, no, we don't do that.
Gee, really? I thought you guys would all pal around.
No, that's why it's lasted this long, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you go away and do your own thing, don't you?
Another illusion dashed.
Absolutely.
So this explains the longevity of the group, I suppose, or just...
You're like them early people that used to think we lived in the same house and slept in the same bed and all that, didn't they?
Which is not the case at all, right?
Hardly.
Who decided to get John Lee Hooker involved in this show tonight? This is just a common favorite of everybody.
He's got a big record at the moment, and he's one of the last surviving of the older generation of blues singers. And I mean, I've loved John Lee Hooker from the early '60s, and I think everybody else likes him. And he's still out there performing. You know, I've seen many of his shows, small shows over the years, and it's great that he's got a hit record.
Yeah. What did you make of Guns N' Roses when they opened for you out in L.A.? Were you won over to their kind of music, or not? What did you think, Charlie?
I didn't see them, actually.
You didn't?
You could hear them. Well, you can't see where we are. You know, it's like they're up there somewhere.
Yeah.
And I didn't see him either.
I mean, you know.
Very diplomatic.
I heard a lot of
Well,
fun.
no, it's not. Well, from my point of view, it's not diplomatic. It's true. I heard them a bit. They sounded great, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that. They did sound very good.
I live in England. I hadn't heard much about them until I came over here. Anyway, they're not big in Europe, are they?
Not really, no.
No.
Well, there you go. All right. Well,
So there we are.
there we are.
See, we both live in England. You'll have to ask the people that live here.
Very normal, boring conversation. Again.
It's a typical interview. Adam, back to you.
Thank you very much, Kurt, and of course we'll be checking back in with you later along with Mick Jagger. And you still have time to order this pay-per-view cable event. All you have to do is call your local cable operator right now. Now, the 1989 Rolling Stones tour is the most lucrative ever. Experts in the business community are estimating the Stones will gross anywhere between $50 and $90 million. It almost sounds like they're printing junk bonds, but in fact, of course, the Rolling Stones worked very long and hard to make this tour a success. Now, astute businessmen that they are, they left no stone unturned when it came to merchandising. With the #1 logo in rock, Rolling Stones merchandise is among the easiest to recognize in the world. The Steel Wheels Tour set records for marketing and selling that logo, moving about $20 million worth of stuff. In addition to the classic tongue design, the Stones created special Steel Wheels Tour merchandise. Most of it was designed by Mick Jagger and Charlie Watts. In keeping with the broad age and interest range of their fans, the Stones aimed items at every demographic group. They sold everything from T-shirts to skateboards to $450 leather jackets. And in a concert business first, the Stones made it possible for customers to pay by credit card. And with that kind of enticement, it takes an awful lot of willpower to leave the concert empty-handed. I think you're buying any T-shirts, anything?
Absolutely. Hats of the whole bit.
Yeah, I have a lot from the first concert, but I want to buy more.
We don't want to buy them now going in because they may get soiled and we may lose them, so get them on the way out.
Did you bring a lot of money for that?
No, not a lot.
Did you know you could also buy stuff with the credit card these days now?
No, I didn't know. You can buy them at the concert with a credit card?
Yeah. Did you bring your credit card?
Yes, I did.
Well, then you can buy as much as you want.
I bought some to sleep in.
What? What did you buy to sleep
I
in?
buy a long one to sleep in. I have to buy my boss's son's 2 shirts.
I got this in Philly. The Mick Jagger Mixed Emotions look here with the pants.
You got Mixed Emotions.
Yeah.
What did you pay for these?
$10. Yeah.
Did you bring money to buy anything here today?
I'll probably buy another 2 or 3 more shirts. Why not?
You?
Sure, I bought some money, but I lost it in casinos.
Yeah, I'll probably buy a T-shirt, sure. Yeah.
Did you hear about the credit card? You can buy stuff with credit cards now?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I have one, so I guess maybe I'll do that expensive enough, so.
Have you hassled your dad yet for money for a T-shirt?
Of course.
Yeah?
I want everything.
Did you give in?
Of course.
Have you bought any merchandising? Anything that...
No, not yet. I'll wait till I get inside.
What, did you get that here?
No, my brother got it from the last concert for me.
Were you planning on buying something?
Yeah, probably shirt or a hat or something. I don't know.
You know that you can buy stuff with a credit card here at
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, but you just brought lots of cash.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a generous man. I bought 5 shirts.
Oh, yeah, what'd you pay for?
$20 a piece.
Planning on buying any T-shirts or any tour
Oh, I bought them
paraphernalia?
all in Philadelphia. I have like 6.
Yeah. Did you know you could buy that with a credit card, right?
No, I didn't know that. No.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah? How much money did you bring along for that?
I don't want to say. I might get stolen.
Well, I won't mug you. Don't worry about it.
About 200.
Really?
Yeah.
Not much. Welcome back inside the Atlantic City Convention Center. I'm Adam Curry, and a couple of my friends are joining me. We're all getting ready for this special pay-per-view cable event. It's called the Rolling Stones Terrifying, and you can watch this in the comfort of your own home. All you have to do is call your local cable operator. Right now, Kurt Loder from MTV News is hanging backstage with one of tonight's performers.
You made this record in 6 months. Which steps did you leave out to do it so quick? I mean, did you leave out the partying time or what?
Well, the first different step is to say you're going to have a deadline.
Yeah.
It's really sometimes it's putting steps in, because the actual process, you have to go through that process anyway. You've got to write them, you've got to make the tracks, and there's a certain, once you start making a record, you've got to do it. But I think the important one is the deadline. You're saying that's what we're going to do, and everybody in the record is going, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, that's a good one. Tell me another. Yeah.
Nobody believed it?
I don't know. Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, we've taken 2 years to make records for the last 15 or so years, so it's not surprising that there was some skepticism about it. So we came in sort of, I just come off the road. We got together, Mick and I got together in February, and I'd just gotten off the road at the end of December, and Mick had just finished a tour of Australia, and he'd done Japan. So, that also is a tremendous difference in the way the Stones usually operate, which would be, you'd be 2 years out in pasture, and then say, okay, gather in a studio and make a record, and it's kind of rusty to start with, So that would be, I would say, the main difference, in which, really listening to it and making it, I really enjoyed going for it, that deadline, and also it started off dead easy. Mick and I got together in Barbados in February, and I think after the second day we had 3 or 4 songs already. So, and when you start off on a roll like that, it helps,
What were the first things you wrote? I mean, did they wind up on the record?
Yeah, one of the first ones was Break the Spell, and Rock and a Hard Place, Mixed Emotions wasn't far behind. They were all there very quickly, so that makes it a lot easier than sitting there scratching your head saying, let's have a fight to stop this boring.
Well, after that, just for the record, after all that, sort of dissing of Mick and all the feuding that was going on last year, what was it like when you finally did get back together in February? Did you have to hash all this out and apologize about it?
No, actually, no, because we'd been, obviously, to get it together, we'd been in touch a lot more over the previous few months. Yeah. And it was both, we both agreed that the best thing was just for the both of us just to get together by ourselves, like nobody else, and it's very strange in that way that it's easy between the two of us, and it's when other people are around, that it can be a problem. I can say things to Mick, and he can say, the hush would fall over the room if you weren't just alone. You just crack up, So. And also, as I say, because it started off so well, because songs started coming out straight away. If you've got work to do, Mick and I can work together like that, and the rest of it can come naturally.
Did you, when you and Keith got back together and actually started writing songs in Barbados, does it just click in like that? I mean, after not doing it for so long, it's just automatic?
Well, we hadn't actually done it for, since the 60s, I think. Wrote songs in this way, but it didn't seem that difficult, really. It seemed quite easy.
And just like,
to me, it did anyway.
It's like riding a bicycle. You never forget how to do it.
Well, no, I mean, you never know. If you're in a small room with someone, you never know if you're going to get things or not, you know. But if each person has things that you know, I'm pretty confident in my abilities to write.
Yeah.
He's confident in his abilities, so, you know, it should be, you know, whoever you write with, it's easy because, you know, you write one part and then the other person, and you say, well, what about another part? And then they come up with the other part. I mean, it's just the mechanics of it, really.
You make it sound easy, but you know,
it is easy.
Well, not many people can do it, right?
I know, but it is easy. Maybe not enough people try, but anyone that's tried to write a song knows that it's quite easy just writing at the basic of it. It's quite nice writing with other people sometimes because you get you know, another head, and you get people to bounce ideas off too.
Yeah.
I like writing the lyric stuff on my own, I must say.
You don't do it while Keith's in the room or anything? You take it away?
No, I like to sit with it on my own. And I mean, Keith suggests ideas sometimes for verses or a title or something, but I like to be on my own, just to sort of think them through, and then when I actually get out and start singing them, that's when you realise, oh God, I made a mess. I've got to go back to the drawing board with this one. It's like, it's not right, you know. It's kind of sometimes hard to know if they really, really work until you start screaming them out, especially the hard rock ones, and you've got to have a facility to change them very quickly.
Yeah. Is Mixed Emotions about you guys, or is it about people in your age group, or is it about... Should we not put a message on it?
It's not. I don't think you should hang too heavy a message on it. You can hang any message you want.
It's very emotionally affecting, I think.
It's not. It's quite introspective, you know. The chorus. I mean, the verses are all kind of up, you know, rock and roll and very Rolling Stones-ish, and the verse has got a slightly more romantic feel to it.
Yeah. Did you have the feeling too, I was asking Keith about this also, that when you listen to the tracks on the album, it almost sounds like something, each one could have come from another part of the Stones' career. I mean, some of it could have been on Exile, some of it could have been back in the 60s, some of it could have been...
Some of it could only have been on Steel Wheels. But...
needless to say.
You know, yeah, well, I don't think we sat down and thought about that either in the writing or in the recording, that, oh, this sounds like this period or that period. I mean, that's just, it's, you know, you're kind of, sort of, you know the records, obviously.
Yeah.
And
it seems to sum up the group's strengths in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, what I like about it is that it's not a narrow record. It has a lot of things that this reminds me of one from here, and this reminds me of one from here. What that really means is that there's a lot of different styles put together on one record, rather than being in a narrow style and just in one vein.
Are you going to be playing a lot, like playing harp or playing guitar a lot on stage, on tour with this thing?
Playing quite a lot of guitar.
Playing great harp on the record. I mean,
thank you. The harmonica on stage is a real tough instrument.
Yeah.
It's an instrument you can play well in a club. You know, funny, the harmonica is very simple, but to make it sound like that kind of sound, you need certain kinds of equipment, a certain kind of microphone, a certain kind of distortion, and a certain kind of echo. And unfortunately, you can never get it loud enough to... You can hear it out there, but I can't hear it on stage, and so it's much simpler just to play it through the mic, and it never really sounds quite the same as the effects that you can get on the record, or if you're playing in a bar or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really an instrument to play with a blues band, a very small band.
Yeah. Will you be doing any bar gigs along the way?
Well, if we do, then I'll get my harmonica out for practice. That'd be great.
How did the Toads Place thing come out? Was everybody... It's been a long time, right? Nobody
I felt like I was a cat enclosed in a cage. You know, I was trying all these moves, you know, to run out of stage like that much. I mean, it was a pretty good-sized stage for a club, actually. I mean, it was like... It was, but I had a good time, and you know, you get all excited, and I start messed up some of the arrangements. You know. That's what those gigs are for, you know, to let you get off steam and stuff.
Nobody fell off stage or anything, right? Or is everything?
I nearly did. I nearly fell off stage. Into the arms of this big guy that was down the front. Hey, Mick! My date.
To get the Keith stuff out of the way, was all that overblown last year? I mean, there was...
I'm sort of a bit bored with talking about all that, really. So I said to Keith last night, I'm not talking about that anymore. Whatever anyone says to me, I'm not going to be nice about it, I'm not going to be nasty about it, and say, forget about it.
Did you just ignore it? I mean, when you got back together and just said...
I did.
You just pretended it didn't happen?
Yeah. It's the best way.
What
Very English way of doing it. Just pretend it's not there.
What a guy. So all differences are buried and settled, and everyone's getting along well in the group. And
Everyone seems to be getting on really well.
Hanging out together.
Well, you're
guys
hanging
hang
with
out
there
together
like 20 hours a day. The other 4 hours of the day I'm on my own. That's enough already. I mean, this communal living, I don't really like communal living anyway. It's like Charlie and I going communal living, you know. It's like we're all the same people. Hi, it's not only the Stones, we don't forget there's 200 other people. Hi, how are you? You know, how are you today? And everyone comes in with their questions, you know. It's like, just as you're getting out a mouthful of steak, it's like, and what do you think about my inflatable dog? I'm going, God. This is like sleeping, living, you know, this is like for months now like this.
The Rolling Stones have 3 decades of fans, and they all seem to be out in force for tonight's pay-per-view cable event. In fact, the Stones tour has made a lot of people feel good about rock and roll again. And here's how they're reacting. Have you seen them before anywhere on the tour?
Yeah, at Shea.
Uh-huh.
And it was fabulous.
How many times have you seen the Rolling Stones?
Oh, about 10.
When was the first time you saw them?
1965, Philadelphia Convention Hall.
Really? And what do you think the difference will be between then and now?
Well, I saw them in Philadelphia just recently, and it's the best show I've ever seen. The best. They're phenomenal. They're just true masters.
How about you? Have you ever seen the Stones before?
We just drove up this morning from Virginia.
Virginia?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah, we gotta go to work tomorrow, though.
Have you seen the Stones before?
No, never have.
What do you think it's going to be like?
Incredible. I won tickets. I can't wait.
Now, is this your first Rolling Stones concert?
Yeah.
Yeah, you excited about it?
Yeah.
Well, you've seen the Stones before, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
When
couple of times.
When was the first time you saw it?
81.
Uh-huh.
And I was at JFK in 81, and the vet, you know, this past fall.
Is this your first Rolling Stones show?
No, I came the second night they opened up in Philadelphia also.
This is your first Stones show?
First time I've come to see the Rolling Stones, yeah.
How about you guys?
First.
Time?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, this is a great show. They are. Keith Richards is so right on. It's a fabulous show. It's so professional, and it's a terrific show. 81. I don't know. This is 50 times better than 81.
Yeah.
Mary Ann saw him in 75.
Really?
Boston Gardens, yeah.
You didn't meet at a Stones show by any chance, did you?
Oh, no, we didn't. There's one thing I like to say is I love Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
He's my favorite.
I've never seen them live, but I have all their albums, since the 60s when they first started out.
Really?
In competition with the Beatles.
You're from Atlantic City?
Yes, I grew up here.
So you've seen the Stones before?
20 sometimes when they used to play here on a steel pier, it was called, and they'd come for 3 days at a time and do maybe 4 shows a day. So I'd go every day, and you know.
First time you seen the Stones?
Yeah, he saw them before.
When did you see it?
I saw them in Philly for the first show.
For the opening show?
Opening show, yeah.
Did you like it?
Oh, it was the best. It was.
Why do you saw that show? Why are you coming to this one?
They're the greatest rock and roll band in the world. I mean, who can beat them?
First time seeing the Stones?
I think the first time live, yeah.
Live, yeah.
Long-time fans.
Yeah. How long?
Since the early 60s.
Right.
Early
the beginning.
60s.
No, I saw them at Shea. They were fantastic, so I had to come again.
You ever seen them before?
No.
Shea the first time.
I'm glad they came around again, you know, because I was worried I wouldn't be able to see them.
Have you ever seen the Rolling Stones before?
Yeah.
Where?
Not in the concert on TV.
As you can see, all the fans are hyped tonight. I'm Adam Curry inside the Atlantic City Convention Center. We're getting ready for the Rolling Stones Terrifying. We're just a few minutes away from showtime, and you still have time to call in, call your local cable operator, and order this pay-per-view event. Right now, we have a look for you at some of the guest stars who'll be joining the Stones tonight on stage. The biggest group of the past 2 years, with a pair of multi-platinum albums, Guns N' Roses are the bad boy descendants of the Rolling Stones. Their balls-out hard rock sound, outrageous stage antics, and controversial public statements have already made them rock and roll legends. Eric Clapton is the prime minister of British blues guitarists. Clapton and the Stones have known each other since they crossed paths on London's early 60s club scene. Hot off the heels of his brand new album, Journeyman, Clapton recently joined the Stones on stage at New York's Shea Stadium.
What's John Lee Hooker going to be doing on this?
Doing a song which was a big hit for him in the, I think, the end of the 50s, and it's called beginning of the 50s, thank you. Yo, MTV's Kurt Loder. Boogie Chillin' is called. It's great, isn't it? That's the one he's going to do.
With the special guests, we're adding some songs like Salt of the Earth and Boogie Chillin', John Lee, Hooker, and Eric Clapton.
Wow.
He's going to do Rooster with us, I think.
Who's going to play on Soul of the Earth?
Axel. Yeah.
Have you rehearsed this with them yet, or?
No, that's why we came earlier the other day to do it.
Is there going to be a live album from this tour?
We'll see.
Surely there's a demand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we've got all kinds of things. We've got the television show, we have live recordings. We record a lot of shows live. I don't know. It depends, you know.
The show tonight going to be something really special? Are you putting new stuff in here, the new songs that we haven't heard before, or what's going to be going on?
Well, I don't know what you last heard, do I?
Well, we know that...
Because we've been adding different songs here and there throughout the whole tour, haven't we?
Yeah.
So how do I know which one
Pull that string. I say yes on that one.
Charlie, why don't we hear more from you? You're famous for not giving interviews, but...
Yes.
Why is that?
Yes. Well, there's nothing to say, really, is there?
Are you having a good time on this tour?
Yeah, that's right.
Are you going to be taking this around the world now? Is that all pretty clear, or that's still up in the air?
About round the world. I think we're talking about Japan and maybe Europe in the summer.
What have been the highlights of this tour so far? Any unusual nights, or?
It will be getting on that Concorde. That's my highlight. No, it's all been good, hasn't it? You know, we haven't had any bad shows. We haven't had any horrible... There's a few of the venues, like these indoor places, are a bit difficult sound-wise. Get a lot of bounce back and, you know, bang, 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 bang. And it's difficult to play, but the crowds have been fantastic, and it's gone really well, hasn't it?
Yeah. This place, especially as old as it is, seems like the acoustics will be a real problem, but you've worked on it, right?
They always are in these domes. They always are, and they're all different.
This one we've done, isn't it?
Yeah, this is more like Nassau, isn't it? Which we have played on other tours, and we rehearsed there earlier. Yeah. And that was pretty difficult, because you get a very noisy bounce back of sound.
How do you feel now about the tour the way you thought you would at the beginning? I mean, did you know it would be this much fun? Is it still as much fun as it was when you started out?
Not really.
No?
No, well, when the first month, you know, it's all you think, God, that works, that's great. Then you got to do it all again, and again, and again, and again, again, and again, and again. So, you know, it's that bit that really, it gets on my nerves, really. I mean, but the others love it.
Keith, we were just talking to Charlie Watts. Never had the pleasure before. Quite a character.
Yeah, he doesn't grant many interviews, but as far as being a character, yeah, a very large one.
So you have Eric coming in tonight. Is he going to play on Little Red Rooster and other stuff, or is it going to be a total surprise what he's doing?
It'll be blues, you know. I mean, so it'll probably be Rooster, you know, but I mean, we've done it a couple of times on the tour, and it's been pretty good. So look at the third one, be a killer.
Are you going to, I was asking the other guys about this too, does television interfere with your style at all? I mean, you're going to step forward and take a solo and you're tripping over camera wires?
That might be the only way that it might interfere, because otherwise you don't think about it. You just go and do a show, you know, and you're really oblivious to the cameras. And if the camera cats are here to pull and they're pretty fast on their feet, you don't really notice it, you know. I mean, you might mug it a little bit when it's obvious that they're close, or you might help give them an angle here and there in the back of your mind, but otherwise you basically don't think you're doing a TV show. You're out there live doing a show. You know, you're worried about the paying customers.
Are you glad that this is like the last date? Are you ready to go off to the islands or something? Or
well, I wouldn't mind. You know, Keith and I, we were just saying that we only had a week off since January, so we could use a couple of weeks, and then I'd be all right.
Let's hope you get them.
Yeah. I hope everyone gets a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that sort of thing to everyone. And you know, we've enjoyed this tour, and all the people that have seen the show enjoyed it. Thanks very much for coming.
Back to you, Adam.
Well, it's just a couple of minutes before showtime, and I really have to hurry to get to my seat before it gets taken. And you still have time to order this pay-per-view cable event, the Rolling Stones Terrifying. All you have to do is run to your phone right now and call your local cable operator. Well, that's it for me. I'm Adam Curry in the Atlantic City Convention Center. I hope you enjoyed the Rolling Stones Terrifying. Thanks for being with us.